Hey y'all, my name is Mark Kendall. I'm the co-founder and chief creative officer of CoolCoolCool Productions. We're an Atlanta-based production company and boutique agency. We use comedy and storytelling to encourage civic engagement and community building. So we've done videos about everything from data justice to voter encouragement to sustainability, talking about national parks, all kinds of stuff. Some subject matter that we keep coming back to a lot is around voter encouragement, encouraging people to, engage civically, whatever that may mean for them. And a lot of our work, while it is also national, is centered like in Georgia and Atlanta audiences specifically. And I feel that comedy is a great tool to use when you're talking about something like civic engagement, because you might be, throughout the course of a video, you might be introducing new information to someone for the first time, or you might be giving them a call to action that includes a new behavior that they haven't previously had in their day-to-day life. And what I think is so great and powerful about comedy is that when you get new information for the first time through laughter, through story, it's a much easier way to process that information and to understand it. Sometimes, when you get hit with facts that maybe run counter to what you had believed previously, those facts are great and they're really useful. But sometimes, if there's no story to go with it, if there's no laughter to go with it, no joy to go with it, you might be more likely to hold on more tightly to the previous beliefs that you already had. And so I feel that comedy is such an accessible and engaging and sticky way to reach audiences wherever they're at. So whether that is a live performance where we're engaging with one another in person, or via, you might text someone a meme, or they might engage with a video over social media on their phone. And so it's something that I really love, comedy, and I think that it's a powerful tool. An example of a type of video that we've done a lot is, videos around voter encouragement. So that means like maybe encouraging someone to go out and vote in an election, or sharing resources that help make them informed decisions before they go to vote in the booth, right? And so something that I think is really helpful about using comedy, or like a comedy video, to encourage someone to engage civically is that we can focus on like the joyful aspects of voting. We realize that people in Atlanta, people in Georgia are dealing with all kinds of things, misinformation, disinformation, voter suppression, and these are all like very real, important things that people need to know about and fight against. But I think what can be great about comedy is that it can center emotions like joy, for example, or inspiration perhaps. And I find that when I am receiving stories that stir those feelings with me, that's when I'm more likely to take some sort of an action, or I'm more likely to maybe make a change or an adjustment in my day-to-day life to take on that new behavior. Because I think that something that's great about comedy is that when a joke is able to like elicit laughter from you, in addition to like understanding and joy, there's also usually an element of truth that's happening in comedy. And so when you're talking about something like voting or new information around civic engagement, if you're asking someone to take on a new behavior, there's a cost to that new behavior. And so I feel that comedy is a great way of being honest about what those costs might look like. There's an honesty there. I started CoolCoolCool Productions with my great friend Bill Worley, and we had originally met in Atlanta's incredible comedy scene. We both came up doing improv together. And even though most of the work that we do at CoolCoolCool Productions is around like videos and podcasting, we still incorporate live performance, improv in the work that we do. In fact, not too long ago, in collaboration with the Atlanta Regional Commission, they organized these awesome community forums in Atlanta where artists or people that are interested in the arts gather to share stories, resources, take action. And so I was brought in to help facilitate some improv exercises with the people that were at that community forum around housing. So, Atlanta's dealing with things like, trying to find resources for affordable housing, dealing with gentrification and displacement. So I helped facilitate some improv exercises where we imagined stories where grandma didn't have to give up her house, or we used improv games to make inventions that would keep developers from displacing people from their neighborhoods, And what I think is great about something like improv comedy is that people that have never worked together before, have no plan or whatever, in the moment, in an instant, create and imagine new ideas on the spot, that maybe you never would have thought of before. Something that's really cool about improv is that, you're collaborating with other people, you're listening to folks, hearing their ideas, and hopefully adding something to that. And so that can be challenging at times too, right? To incorporate other people's ideas. But what's really cool about when you make the commitment to take on that challenge and do that, the ideas that you come up with are things that you could have never come up with on your own. And it really, to me, emphasizes that power of collective action and what can happen from that is that you get to that new imagined future that maybe you couldn't have imagined on your own by yourself. But when you listen with your friends and the people around you, hey, you've created new worlds. And so that's something that is great about improv. And those same principles of improv we try to use in all the stuff that we make. But that improv facilitation was one example of that. And so what was great about that improv facilitation, getting to, experience that with those folks, is that it really strengthened their muscles around, collaborative imagination together, and emphasized, to me anyway, or reminded me of, why collective action can be so powerful. And so hopefully, through exercises like that, through performances like that, through taking on creative processes like that, it gives us a tool, a way to imagine new futures in a way that I think is very exciting and fun. I would just say, broadly speaking, pay your artists. Sometimes people approach artists and they're like, hey, it's for a good cause. I'm giving you exposure, or whatever the case may be. And a lot of times artists may be some of the first people that they expect to do things for less. But if we're gonna, value the arts or talk about the arts being important, I think a big part of that is, paying artists their worth, so that they continue to make art, so that they can continue to live in the places where they're making their art. And a lot of times, artists who are also entrepreneurs or business owners, they then are paying other artists, So when you pay an artist properly, you're doing a good thing. So keep doing that.